Hey, this is Toasted Gaming, and if you've seen my videos where I ranked every game made with a Quake engine, or every game powered by the Gold Source engine, well, guess what? It's time for another one. This time, we're diving deep into one of gaming's most chaotic, controversial, and oddly persistent franchises, Duke Nukem. You know the guy, sunglasses at night, one-liners that some of them aged well, some of them aged like milk, blowing up aliens and chewing bubblegum since the 90s. And somehow still not done. From DOS platformers to cancelled PSP shooters, LCD toys for 5-year-olds, and even an infamous 15-year-old development disaster. This franchise has it all. And I've played through most of them. Some are impossible for me to play, but you'll see why. You'll understand later. All of these things dared to carry the Duke Nukem name. That's 40 entries total, including games, ports, expansions, shovelware map packs, and even a fan-made restoration project for the mythical Duke Nukem Forever 2001 build. Now, how did I rank them? Mostly based on my opinion. Yeah, I've been through most of them, and what ones that I couldn't play, I watched a lot of videos about them, read all the info I could find, so I think we're good. I also peeked at user reviews, critic scores, and historical importance, just to balance things out. Games were scored across 5 categories, that's quality, fun factor, graphics, for their time, legacy, and innovation. Then I totaled it all up and boom, we've got our definitive list. And yes, I did rank the LCD handheld and the game.com part. You're welcome. If you like these deep dives into obscure, cursed, or forgotten parts of gaming history, there's a whole playlist on my channel with videos like this. And hey, if you want early access, join the channel. Members get to watch new videos a week before everyone else, their video suggestions get top priority, and their names will be listed in the credits as supporters who made this possible. Also, probably the least important thing, but the more members I have, the less I have to do other work as a freelancer, so I can spend more time on videos like this. And make them faster and higher quality. But seriously, thank you everyone who joins. You make these crazy projects worth it. Alright, so strap in, grab a medkit, and hail to the king, baby. It's time to rank every Duke Nukem game ever made. Let's do this. We're kicking off this list with a grip game port of Duke Nukem 3D. I wrote no script for this. It was made by Tiger Electronics, same people who made another game that we're gonna see soon. And just look at this footage. I think footage itself explains everything. It's barely a game. It looks like it was made for kids, and Duke Nukem is not for kids. Maybe first game, but that's it. Even the console itself looks more like a glue gun than a console. It has 5 full levels, multiple weapons, items, even a Battlelord boss fight, but this looks like garbage. I don't know how can anybody have fun with this version. Let's just forget this one exists and let's just go to the next entry. At 39th place we got a game so bad it makes Ride to Hell look polished. Duke Nukem 3D for the game.com. This is what happens when someone says, hey, let's port an iconic FPS to a console that struggles to run tic-tac-toe. It's monochrome, it's barely playable. It looks like Duke is fighting sentient barcodes. If you've ever wanted to experience nausea through pixels, this is the game for you. Absolute bottom of the barrel. Up next, Duke Assault, also known as 1500 Duke Nukem maps, and only about 3 of them won't immediately kill you on spawn. This was one of those shovelware CD-ROMs thrown together by companies that thought more equals better. Spoiler, it doesn't. Most of the maps are troll maps, broken templates or chaotic disasters made by people who were probably still figuring out how modding even works. It's historically interesting, but practically unplayable. Here's another jump from the golden era of commercial shovelware. Duke Zone, a collection of 500 user-made maps that you could already download for free online. But hey, now they're conveniently bundled with zero quality control and a shiny box. Some maps are fun in that early modder sort of way, but most are either broken, duplicates, or look like someone made them with their eyes closed. The real enemy here? Capitalism. Nuke is fascinating, not because it's good, but because it became the center of a landmark copyright lawsuit. Microstar sold Duke Nukem user maps illegally, got sued into oblivion, and basically helped rewrite the law on digital content ownership. So yeah, this game is more important in courtrooms than in your gaming library. As an actual experience, it's just Duke Assault with a bigger legal bill. This one should have been cool. A time-traveling Duke saving the future across multiple gameplay styles. Side-scrolling, top-down, sniper mode, third-person boss fights. Sounds ambitious, right? But when you actually play Critical Mass on DS, you realize it controls like a brick and looks like a PS1 game caught on fire. It had gold letters to unlock a babe gallery, which sounds very Duke. But even that couldn't save it from being named worst handheld game of 2011, as Duke himself might say. What a mess. Let's be honest, Duke Zone 2 is just Duke Zone 1, with some new maps slapped on top and slightly more effort. This time they even hired a real team to make 3 original episodes. The result, a lot of the same. Recycled content, uneven level design, and the same old assets. Some maps are playable, some are very hard, and others make you question why you bought the CD-ROM in the first place. But hey, it's technically official. This one is weird. Duke Nukem 3D for the Sega Genesis is somehow both rare and kind of cursed. Only 9 levels, choppy Valve 3D style gameplay, and graphics that look like they were drawn in MS Paint by a caffeinated raccoon. It does have pickups and a fully working spacesuit, both of which weren't even finished in the PC version, so it gets points for being a strange relic. Legally murky, barely functional, but undeniably fascinating. Now here's a name that overpromises hard. Duke Extreme. Sounds badass, right? Like Duke's gonna do a 360 no-scope on a hoverboard. What you actually get is a clunky map pack, a launcher, some tools, and a whole lot of mediocrity. To be fair, a few maps are alright. And the customization tools were nice for the time, but this one's more Duke meh dream than anything. Yeah, this one is real. Penthouse Paradise. It's an officially licensed expansion where Duke battles aliens in a mansion full of penthouse models. It's short, awkward, and barely functional. But at least it knows exactly what it is. Think of it as a time capsule from the late 90s, when the most important feature a game could have was digitized boobs. You probably won't revisit it, but you'll never forget that it existed. We're entering the kinda okay zone now, with Duke Nukem for the Game Boy Color. A decent little side-scroller that tried its best within the limits of a tiny screen and 2 buttons. It's got some charm, some explosions, and even a few classic Duke one-liners. It's not revolutionary, but for portable Duke on the go, it definitely doesn't suck. Just don't expect Duke 3D in your pocket. This DLC for Duke Nukem Forever is basically Duke saying, let me try making fun of every shooter that's more successful than me. It has maps parodying Call of Duty, Doom, and even Team Fortress. Plus new weapons like Sticky Bombs, DFG, NoobTube, and Titiana. They're all parodies of some kind of other weapons from other FPS games. It's got a couple of good laughs, but it's small, shallow, and feels more like an edgy meme pack than actual content. Still, it could have been good addition to multiplayer back when Duke Nukem Forever was still a new game. And since multiplayer is dead, I guess I'll never find out. This one is a little footnote in Duke history, an official port of Duke 3D for the HP touchpad in 2011. It plays just like the iOS and Android versions, complete with on-screen controls and the full campaign, but it landed on OS that barely lasted longer than Duke's patience in a cutscene. For what it is, it's a solid port, just wrapped in a doomed tablet's app store. Yes, that's the real name. Bikini Project is the sequel to Duke Nukem Mobile. A 2D side-scroller where you fight mutant pickups and rescue a woman, literally named Miss Forever Young. It reuses most of the assets from the first game, but adds jetpacks, flamethrowers, and actual boss fights. It's dumb, chaotic, and not a bad time for an early mobile game. But man, that title belongs in a Duke quote. This one kicked off Duke's mobile career, a Java-based 2D side-scroller with surprising personality. The levels are short, the gunplay is snappy, and Duke still cracks jokes like it's 96. It even had animated cutscenes, which for early 2000s mobile phones was kind of impressive. It's basic, sure, but it was a decent portable Duke fix long before we had smartphones in our pockets. Respect where it's due. Now here is one for the Linux nerds and mobile modders. Duke 3D on the Nokia N900. This wasn't official, but it ran the full game, cheat menu included. You could play it using a stylus, a keyboard, or just pure stubbornness. It didn't have music, but otherwise it was PC Duke on a phone in 2009. Totally unauthorized, possibly cursed, but surprisingly solid for a port that probably came with a warning from your data plan. This one was exclusive to the Tapwave Zodiac, which already makes it feel like an artifact from a parallel universe. Duke Nukem Mobile 3D plays like a mini Duke 3D with simplified levels and 3D graphics that kinda resemble PlayStation 1 at 12 FPS. But for a mobile first 3D shooter in 2005, it was impressive, if you could actually find someone who owned the hardware. Shout out to the 17 people who actually played this when it launched. It's the holiday season, and Duke's got a shotgun full of festive cheer. Nuclear Winter is the official Christmas-themed expansion where Duke fights evil Santas, snowmen, and brainwashed babes in elf costumes. The idea is hilarious. The execution... I don't know, sloppy level design, recycled assets, and some maps feel like leftovers reheated in microwave. But, as a weird piece of Duke history, it's unforgettable. It's like watching Die Hard on Christmas. A little chaotic, a little dumb, but you're glad it exists. Before touch controls were fully functional, we had this. Duke Nukem 3D on Android and iOS. It was actually really solid content-wise. Full game, crisp visuals, and customizable UI. The problem? FPS with touchscreen controls in 2009 was like trying to drive a tank with chopsticks. Still, as far as mobile ports go, it's one of the better ones, and Duke's ego meter somehow fits perfectly on a phone screen. The meme, the myth, the disappointment. After 15 years of delays, Duke Nukem Forever finally released, and it kinda felt like playing every bad FPS mechanic from 99 through 2007 all at once. The humor was outdated, the gameplay was stiff, and the loading screens? Eternal. Terrible for its time. But there were still glimpses of the old Duke, through jokes, over-the-top set pieces, and strippers you could literally slap. It's not good, but it's weirdly fascinating, like a museum piece covered in alien guts. The name alone tells you exactly what kind of game this is. End of the Babes is the sequel to Time to Kill. Third-person Duke on the original PlayStation. But this one leans harder into the sci-fi and even harder into, well, babes. It's got cool gadgets, awkward gunplay, and a plot that feels like it was written by a 14-year-old watching late-night cable. Not terrible, just clunky and dated. If you like Time to Kill, this is more of the same, just with less cowboys and more spandex. This isn't just a port, it's a full-blown remix. The Sega Saturn version of Duke 3D was developed by Lobotomy Software, who are known for a game called Power Slave. It's really good, check out Power Slave. And instead of using build engine for this port, they actually used their own engine called Slave Driver. What does that mean? It means dynamic lighting, a slightly different feel, and surprisingly smooth performance for the Saturn. It even had a split-screen deathmatch and a secret bonus level called Urea 51. It's not one-to-one with a PC original, but it's unique, polished, and one of the cooler console adaptations Duke ever got. While Duke Nukem Forever flopped, its single-player DLC The Doctor Who Cloned Me low-key slapped. It ditched the padded pacing of the main game and went for tighter, faster levels with actual variety. You get jetpacks, new environments, and Duke cracking better jokes. It felt more like a proper sequel to Duke 3D, just running on outdated tech. If Forever had been this focused from the start, the whole comeback story might have hit a lot harder. This one's also a mobile game, but hear me out. Duke Nukem Arena was fire. It had multiplayer deathmatch, it had survival mode with online leaderboards, it even had a second campaign. And this was all running on early 2000s flip phones. IGN gave it 8 out of 10, it was nominated by Nvidia, and most importantly, it was fun. This wasn't just good for a mobile game, this was good. Period. Yes, Duke Nukem 64. The heavily censored N64 version of Duke 3D that somehow still kicks ass. No strippers, no swearing, no alcohol, and yet it made up for it with new weapons, modified levels, and local multiplayer. It even had a co-op mode, and original voice lines not found anywhere else. It's the most Nintendo version of Duke you'll ever play, but that shotgun still hits the same. Sanitized? Sure, but still packed with that classic Duke energy. Back, before the one-liners, the babes, and the bubblegum, there was Duke Nukem 1. A DOS side-scroller from '91 that introduced us to everyone's favorite testosterone-filled action hero. It's old school as hell, but it holds up surprisingly well. Fun power-ups, clever level design, and more polish than you'd expect from a shareware release. No pickups, no strippers, just Duke, some robots, and a mission to save Earth from Dr. Proton. Pure platforming simplicity. This was the PlayStation version of Duke Nukem 3D, and it came with a twist, a brand new exclusive episode called Plug and Pray. Total Meltdown ran a little rough compared to PC, but it had its own cool vibe. New music, rearranged levels, and some subtle changes that gave it identity. It's like Duke 3D's weird cousin. It's rough around the edges, but kinda cool. A first-person shooter on the Game Boy Advance? Sounds like a joke, but Duke Nukem Advance actually pulls it off. It's not a port, it's a full original game with new weapons, enemies, and plot. And yeah, it looks like a pixelated soup, but it plays great for GBA, trust me. If you ever wanted to nuke aliens while riding the bus in 2002, this was your game. Absolute overachiever for a handheld title. Now this is how you do a mission pack right. Duke It Out in DC drops Duke into real-life landmarks, the White House, the Pentagon, and the Smithsonian, and lets him blow them all to hell. The level design is tight, the team is awesome, and the action is pure 90s carnage. The expansion understood the assignment. Make it big, bold, and blow up everything American. Duke would be proud. This was the definitive way to play Duke 3D for a while. Megaton Edition came with the base game plus all 3 major expansions: Life's a Beach, DC, and Nuclear Winter. It had online multiplayer, Steam support, and ran smooth as butter. Sadly, it got pulled from stores after the Gearbox legal shuffle, but if you own it, you're lucky. Megaton was Duke 3D at its most complete. If it were still available to buy, it would definitely rank even higher. When 3D Duke was fading fast, this game stepped up. Manhattan Project brought Duke back to his side-scrolling roots, but in glorious 2.5D with explosions, mutants, and attitude turned up to 11. The controls are tight, the levels are creative, and the humor actually lands. It's a love letter to classic Duke with modern polish. And honestly, it holds up shockingly well. Underrated gem that deserved way more love than it got. Zero Hour is Duke's best N64 outing, and yeah, that includes the barely censored Duke 64. This one's an original third-person shooter with full 3D levels, time travel, and Duke fighting aliens through the Wild West, World War II and post-apocalyptic cities. It controls surprisingly well for the N64. The campaign is long and varied, and the multiplayer was solid too. Basically, it's the time splitters of Duke games, and I mean that as a compliment. This is where the Duke became Duke. Duke Nukem 2 took the simple DOS platforming of the first game and cranked up the explosions, jetpacks, one-liners and alien blasting chaos. The level design's better, the pacing's faster, and it's got that early 90s energy that screams action platformer greatness. It's not just a stepping stone, it's a genuinely awesome action game that still plays well today. Peak pre-3D Duke. When this hit Xbox Live Arcade in 2008, it was a game changer. Duke 3D? On console with online multiplayer? Co-op mode? Achievements? And buttery smooth controls? Yes please. The visuals were sharp, the gameplay was untouched, and it became the go-to way to revisit Duke on modern systems. Until it got delisted. If you were around during the 360 era, you already know. This version was pure gold. The real Duke Nukem Forever. Not the one we got, but the one we wanted. This 2001 build was leaked, then slowly rebuilt by fans into something genuinely playable. And honestly kind of awesome. Classic Duke tone, grittier environments, fast-paced shooting, and a story that actually resembles the old trailers. It's all there. The DNF 2001 restoration project is still in progress, but it already plays better than most FPS games Duke touched after 96, a must-play for fans of the king. This is Duke meets Tomb Raider with a shotgun, and somehow it works. Time to Kill throws Duke into a third-person time-traveling shoot-em-up across Wild West, ancient Rome, and even hell. The controls are tight for a PS1 game, the one-liners are top tier, and the whole thing feels like a Saturday morning cartoon made for adults. It's dumb, it's violent, it's got strippers and togas. Basically, in my opinion, it's the best Duke spin-off ever made. Forget saving the world, and life's a beach. Duke's just trying to enjoy his vacation. Too bad the aliens packed sunscreen and RPGs. This expansion is a masterclass in reskinning done right. New music, colorful tropical levels, hilarious sound effects, and weapons like a coconut launcher and water pistol. It's like a parody mod with a budget, and it's so much fun. Easily the best Duke Nukem expansion ever made, and the only one where aliens wear Hawaiian shirts. This is how you re-release a classic. World Tour takes the original Duke 3D, polishes it up, adds a brand new 5th episode, new music by Lee Jackson, new voice lines from John St. John, voice actor of Duke Nukem, and optional lighting upgrades. The new levels, designed by the OG devs, feel just as tight and explosive as the classics. Plus, Duke sounds even more like Duke. It's not just a remaster, it's a celebration, and it absolutely earns its place near the top. The definitive classic. This edition added the 4th episode, The Birth, which gave us the Devastator, the Cyclone Emperor boss, and some of the best designed maps in the game. Everything that made Duke 3D iconic is here. The attitude, the interactivity, the gore, and the babes. For many fans, Atomic Edition is the true version. The one that showed just how far build engine games could go. It's the king. Except for one version. Of course, this is number 1. The OG. The game that defined an era. Duke Nukem 3D wasn't just another FPS, it was a revolution. Fully interactive environments, hilarious voice acting, real world locations, and gameplay that mixed chaos with clever level design. This is the reason Duke became a household name, and even today, all its pixelated glory, it still plays like a dream. Other games try to hail the king. This is the king. And there you have it. Every single Duke Nukem game, port, expansion, and legally questionable shovelware ranked from worst to best. Whether you survived critical mass, played Duke on a Tiger handheld, or still have Atomic Edition installed today, thanks for watching and sticking with me through 40 wild entries of pure Duke chaos. If you enjoyed this video, do me a favor. Like the video to let the algorithm know Duke still matters. Comment down below which ranks would you change, what's your personal favorite. And of course, subscribe so you don't miss the next deep dive into forgotten or legendary gaming history. Got an idea for future videos like this? Drop it in the comments, I read all of them, and who knows, your idea might be next. And if you want to go the extra mile and support the channel, you can hit that join button. Channel members get early access to every new video a full week before everyone else. Priority for video suggestions, and your name goes right into the credits as a supporter who helps make videos like this possible. You guys seriously keep this channel alive. Thanks again for watching, I've been Toasted, and until next time, hail to the king, baby.